let us design an application. I think the program 3 is a very interesting program in your laboratory to create a color cube and spin it using OpenGL transformation matrix. Now, creating a cube, you have a built-in function cube, that is GLU cube. By specifying the size, you can create the built-in cube support. But here the program demonstrates you should not create the cube using the built-in support. Instead of that, you have to do it from scratch. That is modeling. I think in the first hours we have discussed the modeling is the requirement for any application. You want to model and then you have to project onto the screen. Once it is projected, you have to make some movement. You know the transformation function support. Here, by using the rotation transformation support, you have to spin it, you have to rotate it. So this is the requirement for this program. I hope you understood. In our childhood, if you want to create a cube, what we'll do, you are going to make use of small squares that you are going to create 6, and you are going to join such a way that one you are going to make it look like a cube. The same philosophy is used here. Instead of calling built-in function, let us understand from the perspective of the output. Once if you create the cube, now here an interesting is for each corner the colors are supplied. Separate colors are for each corners, just to identify the corner identification. Here if you observe, this corner is provided with a white color, this is yellow color, this is red color, like that. So there is a variation of the pixel values from one corner to another corner, and here we are observing every pixel that is on the surface are calculated the exact color which is required to trace from one corner to another. The variation of the color you can observe. This technique is usually called as interpolation technique. So each time it is trying to find out the next pixel and its color, and everything should be properly calculated in the program. And you can rotate, that is spinning here refers to rotating this along the x-axis, along the x-axis, along the z-axis, along the y-axis. So this is the requirement for this program. I think first creation of the cube, giving color to the corners so that when it looks very clearly, and whenever it spins, you can observe all the corners systematically, and also it should be rotated along the axis support, whether it is x-axis, y-axis, or z-axis support. I hope the problem is clear. So let us solve this problem from basic scratch idea. Whenever you see a cube, it is supported with 6 faces: front face, back, side face, bottom face, and top face. And when you see this cube, you can observe only the 3 faces. Remaining other 3 faces, it is hidden because we are giving more. It is filled up with a color. Hence, it is no transparent effect. So you can observe only the 3 faces at a time here. When you depends on the type of the way in which you are going to spin, the faces should be observed. Before starting this program, you have to analyze how to model this. The first thing you should doing is modeling the faces of the object. Identify which are the faces towards inward and outward pointing faces, that is towards the user, which are all the faces that can be observed. Whenever it spins, I think the background will come into the front. So at each time, we should take care of which faces we are observing and what type of data structures which helps in creating this cube. Here the data structure requirement and coloring this. Without coloring also you can do, but using color, we can give the effect more clearly. So using this concept, let us first understand the faces. So the face, we are going to mark every corner systematically. If you don't mark it properly, you cannot take the control in the programming. So first let us understand the marking 0, 1, 2, 3, 3 corners, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it should be clear on the first point. And one more thing in the it is a 3D picture now. There are 6 faces we are observed. The corner point supports you to get the vertices supports you clearly to get a face. One more observation you have to see in your 3D modeling. The z-axis support, we are going to make it at 1 in the front face, whereas in the background it is made as -1, -1, -1. So this is the observation. The remaining, I think the corner points -1, -1. No, the whole data representation of this is using GL float vertices 8, 3. So totally 8 points. Each point is supported with XYZ support. Order in which -1, -1, 1 in the same order you specify. Don't change this order, because while developing your program, you will take the control over these values clearly. That is the reason you should specify it clearly. I will come back. What is the reason for this? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Totally all 8 points you have taken care. And also this is the data structure through which you have represented all the vertices clearly. And next interesting coloring of these vertices. Coloring is also done. 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. All 8 points are colored with the corresponding color mapping that is done, through which we can observe the corresponding vertices are made with a color corresponding colors. So this is the observation. So this is the corner point 2, made it as 1, 1, 1. Hence the vertex here it is white. The exact opposite vertex here it is 4, which we cannot observe in this cube. This value will be -1, -1, -1. Now you can observe the color cube representation of this data structure. Once this is clear, that is the first modeling of the faces here done. So now we have to identify which are the faces which are inward and which are the faces which are outward. So you have to identify this while modeling. I think this vertex values corresponding in index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Clearly you try to take care of the index values, vertex values, corresponding color values, and this is our own understanding of these values with respect to corresponding color values. So this is the representation of this data structure. Once this data structure is under your control, now you can tackle the remaining parts. So you are clear with vertices, colors, and one more thing is at each time you are rotating it, you have to find out the values of the angles of x-axis, y-axis, and the z-axis. At each time you are going to increment with the degrees values. Totally there are 3 axes, 0, 1, 2. We will try to specify the corresponding. 0 is represented for x-axis, 1 for y-axis, and 2 for z-axis. Initially, with respect to z-axis, we initialize our program. And later, whenever user clicks the button, the axis values we are going to change through corresponding button support of mouse. We'll switch over our spinning rotation with respect to corresponding axis. This is the requirement you have made in the program in order to spin the cube, the created cube. So now you have to create the polygon. The polygon, now you observe A, B, C, D, the 4 vertices you are supplying. With the help of these vertices, the corresponding GL vertex 3F function you are calling. In the array, vertices A, B, C, D. The order you have to observe. In the same order, when you supply this, where polygon is get created. At each time, this GL color 3F function is invoked so that the corresponding vertices is colored with corresponding colors array support. So resulting, we'll get the cube which looks like this. 0, 1, 2, 3 support. So based on this 0, 1, 2, 3 support, this is the phase, first phase. Similarly, all other phases, they are numbered properly so that we will be taking the control over the, whenever it is changes, when this polygon function is invoked with the different values for ABCD, the corresponding phases are start coming up and create the polygons. They are joined together to form a cube structure. So GL begin, GL polygon supplying the 4 vertices and makes this function polygon a vertices support to create a polygon. Now, one interesting thing is which are the faces should towards the user and which are the backside. So whenever you vertices are observed in clockwise, counterclockwise, they are called front faces. Back faces are clockwise direction. So keeping these 2 points in the support, if you say 0, 3, 2, 1, if you make this order, then it acts as a front face. The same face, if you want to make backwards, then it will be arranged as 0, 1, 2, 3 in the clockwise direction if you rotate. So the normal, when you keep on this face, the thumb shows the direction of your normal. The finger shows the direction under which these vertices should be traced. So this mathematical support helps in making ourselves identifying the faces towards the user and some of the faces backwards. So with this support, we'll try to make all the numbers clearly so that when the front face is 0, 3, 1, 3 to 1, front face, counterclockwise observation. 4, 5, 6, 7, you observe this 0, 0, 3, 2, 1, front face. Similarly, another observe 4, 5, 6, 7. You observe 4, 5, 6, 7. But you cannot observe in this direction. Hence, it is becomes the back face. Similarly, 2, 3, 7, 6. Front face 2, 3, 7, 6. Similarly, 1, 5, 4, 0. 1, 5, 4, 0. 1, 2, 6, 5. 1, 2, 6, 5. Finally, 0, 4, 7, 3. 0, 4, 7, 3. All the faces, you made 3 faces towards the user, 3 faces towards back. So the faces that user can observe are given anti-clockwise direction, clockwise for the backward. So this is the polygon you are calling, that what is the function that you have developed through a program called color cube. So when you call this, a polygon is created with the corresponding vertices. Since it is filled up, the colors will be mapped in such a way that every pixel on these faces are by interpolation technique, the colors are mapped to every pixel. That's why it becomes a color cube. So now you understood the scope of this function color cube in your program. Now we have to display function. Our main program, you are going to call the display function. In this display function, we are going to call the color cube function. The color cube invokes the polygon function. It creates the cube on your screen and it project onto your screen. So first one, GL clear, GL color buffer bit clear with the background color support. And also here an interesting new macro is added to this GL clear, that is GL depth buffer bit. Now this is the new thing added because it is a 3D. We have to give the depth effect, and some of the faces that appears and some of them will not appear. You have to identify which are the faces that you can observe with the help of depth buffer bit support. And in the display function, you have to call GL load identity function. I think these are all same identity function that is required for transformation operation. Will be loaded with first identity function. GL rotate F. Here you observe the theta 0, that is with respect to x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. So whenever you are rotating with x-axis, you are going to make the first one, second parameter as 1 for y, third parameter for Z. So this function we have used in our previous program. We are calling display function. Now we are calling color cube function, GL flush. An interesting one more API is required here, that is glut swap buffers. So this is required here because while displaying the one buffer that will helps you to display the data. Meanwhile, when a user event-driven program to rotate it, the new data that will be modified in the other buffer, by the time it will be swapped so that when the user will be comfortable in observing this out, observe without any delay in its process. But whereas it uses more memory, but at the same time, the effect will be good at the output. So for this reason, we are going to make use of two buffer scheme. The two buffer scheme helps you to get your output effectively on the output screen. The swap buffers helps in switching over from one buffer to another buffer. So the display function is helps you to create queue and also the rotating that queue. With the help of these routines, we have developed function display. Now spinning is required. The spinning function, the spinning of the cube is then theta axis. At each time, your theta value of the corresponding axis, I think this axis variable can take the value 0, 1, 2. If the user clicks, it is incremented by 0.05. At each time, controls the speed of the cube with the help of 0.05 increment. You can change this value the way in which the speed of the rotation of the cube can be controlled. And one more thing you have to attach to this rotation is if theta axis, the corresponding value, if it is greater than 360, make once again to reinitialize to 0. So it is get initialized to 0. Once again, the increment starts. When it is become 360, becomes 0. So that is how 0 to 360 is maintained with respect to theta. After doing this, I hope this glut post redisplay function is required to whatever the modified you have done for the matrices should be get affected. So in this way, the spin cube is a function which helps you. We are going to call this function in the glut idle function. Corresponding axis increment will be converted to display area with the help of glut post redisplay function. Now, most callback function that you have understood in the last hour. Whenever the user press left button and the state is glut down, axis is made as 0. The axis variable can take 0, 1, 2. X Y and Z axis. There are other two states which are supported with a 3 button. The corresponding can be operated in the mouse function. So take care of this state equal to glut down or glut up that you are familiar, and XY window coordinates of the mouse at the time of the click, the corresponding X and Y support, and finally you are taking the values of axis support. Now, I think last hour we have discussed this my reshape function. You are calling through main program my reshape. It is user defined. You are creating a viewport. It is same as the window height and 00 WI. If you want viewport size should be decreased, you can change the values of this 00 W by 2, H by 2, then automatically your screen is modified to off. And this effect that you can observe on your screen. Time being for this program, the window size only we are creating for a viewport and made the same value 00 WH, GL matrix mode, GL projection, GL load identity. I think if at the runtime, if the user changes the width and height of a window, that way your screen since it's an event-driven program, if that event occurs, based on whether the width is less than or greater than h or less than h, you know it is the activity that we have done to modify with respect to the corresponding parameter of the window screen is done by multiplying with h by w for the last two arguments on the GL ortho function if w is less than h, otherwise for the first two arguments. With this, you can even resizing is done by the user. At the end, we can take the control. GL matrix mode, GL model view support you to post all these model view matrix onto the output screen. So I think the reshape function that we discussed in the last hour, we are using in this program. So that now your main program is get ready. Almost all the sub program here written. That is, my reshape is over, display function is over, spin cube is over. Whenever the user changes XYZ 0, 1 to XYZ axis support spinning the cube, mouse function, mouse, and one more extra thing we have done here, the depth effect we have created in the display mode, glut double RGB here, not the single buffer, double buffer scheme, and also the pixels are provided with the RGB support. And one more extra thing is depth effect is given because you are observing a 3D object. You have to show the depth activity of your screen with the help of buffer glut depth, and you have to make this at every iteration. You should know which is the front and back. The depth effect should be calculated. Hence, there is a built-in enabling of this testing activity that we'll discuss in the next hour. Time being, you try to use this routine. GL enable, you have to enable this by calling a macro GL depth test function, which will be invoked at every iteration whenever the changes is done. And finally, the program will be in loop so that when your mouse, that is whatever the displaying of your cube will be spinned around the corresponding axis with the help of all these functions. I just know you can go back once again to understand all these things from the beginning. It is a very interesting program for all the vertices, color support. Now we have created this cube with the corresponding colors. Now the corresponding data structure. Now you have to observe which are the faces for which are all the coordinates are given, and that is supported with the color values. This is vertices values and color values. So with the help of this data structure, we can create color cube. And this question is asked, what is the way in which the data structure is used in order to color in the cube? Explain with a diagram. So this is the diagram along with the data structure. There are A, B, C, D, F. You can mark the faces clearly, supported with the vertices and the corresponding vertices values. Mapping to these, mapping properly results in your polygon. Joining of this polygon in a particular order, that is the second phase. Which phase you want to make front and which phase you want to make back. So for that reason, you have to use the clockwise and anti-clockwise rotation with respect to the vertices ordering makes the faces front and back. So this is the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis supports in order to finally tune it. So this color cube function, display function. Now you can understand GL load identity, color cube function, GL flush, and swapping these buffers with which is done with respect to the corresponding axis that you are familiar. And finally, reshaping and this main program. I hope the third program you can run in your computer system. This is the very interesting program because based on this program, another two programs are there. If you clearly understand this program, adding some more routines, you can make this program more effective. You can introduce here ortho function you use, that is parallel projection. In the next chapter, we'll understand another projection, that is perspective projection. If we use perspective projection, we can give more effect on this cube, that we can make the cube to go back and front and left and right, all these operations that can be done as a realistic appearance. For example, whenever you see an object, we'll adjust ourselves to go front and back so that we'll feel that object should appear realistic effect. So for this reason, we are going to make use of a concept that is using perspective projection. So we will understand this in the next discussion. I hope all of you will run this program. The complete program is available. So this is the buffering scheme. In the single buffer scheme, whatever you render with the OpenGL, single buffer is used and that will be passed to the screen. So whenever you do some online activities, sometimes it may not be possible to observe the whole activities. For this reason, we are going to make use of two buffer scheme, back buffer and front buffer. These buffers are swapped during the whenever an activities of changes that is done at the runtime. So the swapped buffer helps you to pass this information, new buffer values into the screen. The effect will be there on the output screen. These two buffer schemes makes your program effective and at the runtime. So you have idle function is used for you whenever an activity is to be done on your program. With this discussion, I will try to wind up the program number 3. It's a very interesting program, and as well as basic requirement for another 2 or 3 programs on this activity. So with this, I will try to wind up the third program. I will try to discuss now the next chapter, which is required for all of us, is on So now I think the third program is clear. So your fourth program and I hope of the fifth program also is based on another interesting projection, that is perspective projection. I think you may be studying your first year drawing, orthographic projection and perspective projection, isometric projection, oblique projection, all these things. Now we are creating this environment in our computer screen with the help of camera effects. So we have discussed some of the routines already. Sometimes you may not be understood it clearly. What is the reason for using GL ortho function or GL ortho 2D function for 2D images? With this chapter helps you to understand all these gaps and makes yourself comfortable in using this in your program. So 3D viewing, the word is very important. 3D viewing, you are observing 3D objects in a 2D screen. It is not 3D screen, it is 2D screen. That means to say one dimension is lost. But the user feel like this object, for example, whatever the cube we have created, 2D with respect to our projection system is not 3D. The complete inherently more complex is 2D case. Need to use a projection to transform all 3D object screen to a 2D display device. Your display, for which we converting 3-dimensional domain into 2D. One observation is dimension you are losing here, and that information will not be required for projecting. So with this, let us start the discussion on 3D viewing. So whenever you conceptually model a 3D viewing object, you have to clip against view volume. Only the portion of your observation should only be taken and remaining data should be removed out. So that is the clipping you have to do. And whatever the data we observe within the view volume, you have to project onto the projection plane and transform this into a viewport in 2D device coordinate for display. So these are the three activities or three steps which are required at every iteration, because whenever you see any object, only a portion of object you can see. Whenever you tilt our head to some other position, you can see other part. The remaining part automatically clips off from your viewing volume. So that is the meaning of first one. Once you see observe, only the data will be projected to our eye and transformed into this viewport in a 2D device. Anywhere the God given two eyes for us, the 3D effect you can observe. In our computer screen, we are making it, the effect is done on a 2D system and 2D device coordinate for displaying. Because of the depth effect of the Z buffer effect, we are going to make use, it looks like a 3D. Let us understand this from implementation. All these things are observing the things, and understanding is one part. Second one, you want to show the same thing in the computer program is the second part. So we require some architecture in order to this. This is called viewing pipeline architecture. Any 3D scene are similar to the process involved is just similar to it taking a photography. A photographer in front of a group photo will do all this exercise. Whenever a group photo he has to take, first viewing position will try to identify the best position where he can capture all the data on your system. That is viewing position. He moves his camera position in such a way that he can observe all the things. Otherwise, some of the portion will be clipped off. So we create a volume. In that volume only, all these data should be present. That is one part, viewing position. And second one is orientation of the camera, whether he has to up, down, or move forward and backward. I think we observed look at function in the last 2 hours back. The same eye position, object position, and the position of the camera in the up and down position makes the orientation of the camera clearly on your computer screen. And size of the clipping window makes the portion of the data that will be get captured to your system. So this pipeline architecture helps in observing your data on the computer screen. So there are, I think now you are creating your own camera on your computer screen. That's why you call it as virtual camera. So real pinhole camera images are inverted, actually image plane, eye point. It is the inverted image that will be observed, that you are observing in our real pinhole cameras. In computer graphics cameras, we will not do this exercise. It is convenient. We will try to, eye point will be the center of projection. We are observing any object. We are putting a plane here. So whenever you move this plane, the object will be increased its size or diminished its size, depends upon the type of projection. If all the lines are going parallel, it is called parallel projection. Then we can observe the size correctly. If it is coincides at one point, then it is called as perspective projection. So you'll observe this in the next coming slides, how this effect will be there. The whole, there is a good number of transformations from one domain to another domain, which automatically does in our process to get a screen coordinates. On the screen coordinates is the final requirements. That is local coordinates is get multiplied with local to world matrix, the world to camera matrix support, and the projection matrix. That is whatever the derivation for the projection matrix, whether it is a parallel projection or perspective projection, we have to derive the transformation matrix just similar to scaling, rotation, translation. In the same fashion, we'll create a projection matrix. That is the next slides which will help how to create this projection matrix applied up to the world to camera matrix data, and finally local to world matrix and local coordinates. Finally, it is turned up into representation of a data on our screen. So this projection is nothing but mapping 3D to 2D. So you observe this. The scene models are in 3D, correct? And images are in 2D. So whatever the photo you take, it is 2D screen on. So the camera is positioned. So you are interested in taking the photo of a particular object. So we had to project it, that is planar projection. There is basic approach here. It is a 3D space or a plane or a film plane is defined. Project this scene onto the plane of your interest. Observe this. This is the object. You are observing through your camera, and the image will be converted into your plane. That is 2D plane. So you have to map every point, whatever the observed point, an equivalent point on in your screen. So this mapping is called as finding out the transformation matrix that can convert this data into a value on your screen. Map to window to viewport. There are two important points you have to address here. This is the screen. If it is perspective projection, all these points are coincide at one point. If it is a parallel projection, you observe the same image is realistic appearance. The length and breadth will be as it is. Whereas here in the perspective projection, image look realistic, but the dimensions are not possible to capture. So these two projection system you'll study here. So we have to address two basic issues here. How to define the plane? How to define this plane? How to define mapping onto the plane? How to convert a point on the world coordinate system exactly to a point on your XY system, X, Y, Z. So we are making use of these two issues. If you address the problem of converting from 3D to 2D, it will be clear. I think this screen, which will help us to address, here you observe, you are observing this object, a plane is get created, and you are creating that object. Oh, yeah, this is the observation, red marked area. You are capturing the view volume. So when it is captured, the same data which you are going to observe on the screen domain. So this effect you want in your program now clearly from perspective. So this is the viewing pipeline architecture, generalizing our viewing pipeline support. First, modeling transformation, which object you are observing. World coordinate system to viewing VC, world viewing transformation is used to convert to viewing coordinate system. And projection transformation, projecting onto the screen. But your device is a normalization transformation, and that projection transformation to normalization transformation, and clip the portion which only to be observed, remaining things will be removed out and put onto the viewport, that is on your screen, and that convert into device coordinates. So is a data which is there in the world coordinate is converted into device coordinate. So the complete pipeline architecture will be done with the help of API support in a single shot. But whereas there is a procedure involved from beginning to ending with a stepwise order of this transformation function. That's why we call it as it is a pipeline architecture. The positioning of the camera on your screen, as I told, the cameraman positioning of is important. Initially, let us assume this is axis is X, Y, Z axis. Your camera is also coincides with our X-axis. You cannot observe that picture. You are inside the object itself. You want to observe that picture, you have to come out from outside. So this is the meaning. So the camera is moved away from the origin, and you are going to observe that up. So this is the steps required. That is your translation. So initially, you have to observe here one point. Initialization will be done with respect to the camera will be inside, and moving this camera outside the way in the direction along the Z-axis we are going to move and observe. So you want to give the side effect. For example, I want to observe the object present in the coordinate system from the right side. If you want to do that, first you have to translate, rotate it by an angle theta 90 degrees towards x-axis, then you can observe this. So this translation, rotation, whatever the matrix that you are learned, that can, everything will come into picture here. Now, using this simple position on the camera on the frame, you can take the control over observing this picture on the computer screen. Now I just demonstrated, this is the initial camera here. This is your x-axis. You are moving along the z direction. You want to observe this picture along the x-axis. You are rotating by 90 degrees and you are taking that data. So now the steps are, side view of an object could be obtained as move the camera away from the origin, rotate it, and finally model view matrix is created, that is translation and rotation multiplication results in a matrix that is called model view. So GL matrix mode, GL model view matrix is created. GL model view matrix is created with the effect. First, you have to note very important, remember friends, in OpenGL concept is the last transformation specified will be the first to be applied. Don't forget this statement. That's why GL translate F00 minus D. That is, you are moving your camera at a minus D distance from along the Z axis. That's why the Z value is separated with minus D. That is translate function. Tx, Ty, Tz. Tz is applied with a minus D. Then GL rotate minus 90 here because you are rotating in the direction of anti-clockwise direction support. Your degree will be minus 90. Along the x-axis you are moving, hence the x-axis will be minus 90. Load this data into an identity matrix and put into model view matrix. Now, I think you have used these 4 statements in your program. From this chapter, it will be clear the support of matrix mode representation of a GL model view in your program and make your program ready in catching your data with the help of a camera position. Like that, you can view the object in any direction by taking care of the corresponding values in the parameter of rotate, translate, and generating a GL model view matrix and finally put onto your program. So I hope this concept is clear. The model view matrix are a 3D viewing support. This is required for a next program. I hope I discussed one interesting program called lookat function. Now use of this lookat function is very essential for the next program because this lookat function is supported with all these requirements. You are observing the object and you are positioning the camera and as well tilting the camera and repositioning in such a way that when the object should be applied. So the lookat function will once again look clearly, understand it and make our system clear. So before that, let us look at function discussion. I will try to discuss 2 important projections that we already discussed. One it is called parallel projection, another one is called as perspective projection. So let us, this projection transformation matrix, you are designing it. In the exam, they will ask the question, design projection 2D projection transformation matrix with respect to perspective and as well as orthogonal. So these 2 functions we are designing it now, our transformation matrix we are designing, just like scaling, rotation, whatever the transformation function, there is an interesting transformation function results out. Here, transform the points on a coordinate system to a dimension n into the point on the, here dimension is reduced by 1, 3D to 2D. The projectors emanate from the center of projection, passing through the every point on the objects and intersect a projection surface in the 2D projection. You have to identify the position where it intersects on your screen. The corresponding coordinates you have to identify. Now once again, clear, projectors. These are all the projector. Here, observer is here. That is the center of projection. All points will be coincide. This is the plane, viewing plane. That is film plane. Direction of projection. So you are putting this data into the screen. This is perspective projection, right? Every point is coinciding at COP, that is center of projection. So this is get coincide here, and this is the plane, viewing plane, VP. Viewing plane direction that you are in. This is the normal, the perpendicular to the plane is called as normal. This is the object you are observing. So the view looks like this. If you tilt your angle, then you can see the side view, just like we have done in our creating of a cube effect. So this is the observation, that the same observation you have made in the first slide. Now we are creating the transformation matrix required in order to achieve this. So for which we require a planar geometric projection. The standard projection projected onto a plane, we use viewing plane, that is called as planar. If you want to project into non-planar, especially this is used in map creation of the maps, where we can, here it is not planar projection. There is a curve support, and corresponding every pixel should be mapped properly, so that when it gives a non-planar effects. So in the planar, it is a straightforward 2D screen that you are creating. Let us understand this from the process. This viewing projection, we are creating whatever the picture, viewed view camera. The two sorts of projection we will use. One, it is called parallel projection. Another one, it is called as perspective projection. Parallel projection. This is the outcome of a parallel projection. This is perspective projection. Now, from the diagrammatic view, if you observe the cube look smaller in its size and coincide at the point center of projection. Whereas the cube, you look with its dimensional value as it is, but all these lines are parallel to each other. And this is used in, especially in civil drawing. This is used in the case of many of the realistic virtual reality support and playing the games. In all these things, we are going to make use of the perspective. It is realistic. Our eye supports exactly this. We cannot measure dimension exactly through our eye, because we are observing the object through perspective projection. With this introduction, I hope the two projection systems definitions are clear. Now we have to derive the transformation matrix for these two. To understand this, take a simple example, a line AB. You want to get on your plane. When it is projected, you will be getting A dash and B dash. This is the line. The size of the line is modified here, you observe. If you move the plane, then the size is also changes. This concept is called perspective. It's the best diagram you can write when perspective diagram is asked. In the parallel projection, the same line, the size of the line will be same, and they are not going, the points will not coincide, they will go parallel to each other. So this is projection understanding of parallel and perspective projection. For all our projection, I think you want to design a inside view of a car. You observe a perspective projection support is used here. A perspective rendering mechanism is used in the case of computer-aided drawing system. Everything is get projected very clearly, so that when you see the effect, the realistic effect inside of the car. So now we can understand how the scope of system. Perspective projection defined by projection plane and a center of projection. 2 points. The size of the projection of the object varies because the plane position changes. Similar to the camera, looks realistic. Not useful for metric information because it will not give exactly the size of the image. The parallel lines do not generally project as parallel because they will coincide at some point. Angles only preserved on faces parallel to the projection plane. Distance is not preserved. These are all the drawback of perspective projection, but the advantage is it is realistic. That is the advantage. So usually the question is, give the difference between perspective projection and parallel projection. Try to write the diagram, and 1 or 2 points under the each heading you should be clear. This is the perspective viewing of your camera position. I think lookat function supports 9 parameter with respect to XYZ camera position, eye position, object position, and using these 9 parameter, we are going to fix up the camera that we'll try to discuss. I hope we have already taken 1 hour. So we'll try to discuss more in the next hour. If any of you are having any questions or anything to be asked, you can unmute your mic, because up to now is only one way. I am only giving the information. I don't know whether you are catching this and implementing in your system. If any of you feel any uncomfortable in installing your OpenGL, try to discuss with Namit and make yourself comfortable in installing the OpenGL environment in your system and calculate. In the next hour, I will try to discuss the derivation with respect to perspective transformation and using of this in the program. The fourth program is creation of the color cube and giving the effect of rotating. So if anyone want you to give any suggestion for this type of discussion through our Zoom, or you feel comfortable or anything is there, you can have an open discussion. You can unmute your mic and give your suggestion. Or any topic, if you have not understood, try to discuss with me. If nothing is there, I'll try to close this, and we'll see tomorrow at the same time at 11 o'clock. I hope none of you are participating with respect to discussion. I hope you understood today's discussion. The third program we have clearly discussed, and the second was for the fourth and fifth program, the requirement you are discussing now. Once it is complete, almost more than 50% of your lab exercise is over.